Lesson 15 starts on page 60, and it's about subtracting two-digit numbers with regrouping. Now in lesson 14, we learned about subtracting two-digit numbers. To start with, let's think of regrouping when we do addition. Like if we had 14 plus 17, we'd add that 4 and 7 together and we'd get 11. And so that means we'd have 110 and 1 We'd have to regroup 11 into 110, and we put that 110, we put a 1 in the tens column to represent that one $10 bill or value of 10. And then we put a 1 down here to represent the 1 that goes in the ones place, that leftover 1. And then we just add those 3 ones together to get our answer. Now, subtraction without regrouping with two-digit numbers. Let's say we had 25 minus 12. We would do 5 minus 2 is 3, 2 minus 1 is 1. Now, what if we had 22 minus 15? We cannot subtract 5 from 2. So what we do is regroup. And just like in that addition problem above where we had an extra 10, when we added 4 and 7, we put that 10 over in the tens column. Now we can take a 10 away and give it back to the ones column. That's what we do when we regroup in subtraction. So let's take 110 away. And so what we would do is we would change this 2, that one I just crossed out, we would change that to a 1. And then we would give 1 to the ones column, one $10 bill to the ones column. And so that 1, 2 right there, just think of that as 12 now. Think of that as 12. And so now we can do 12 minus 5, and we know 12 minus 5 is 7. And then we can do 1 minus 1, which is 0. And so our answer to 22 minus 15 would just be 7. And so what we do in subtraction when we have to regroup is we take a 10 away from the tens column and we give it back to the ones column. And so that way we can have a big enough number to do our subtraction. Let's go ahead and do some practice problems. Now, in the book on page 60, the practice problems, they say to use bills or draw pictures to show the subtraction problems, but I don't think I'm going to do that here. You can use money if you want to help you figure out these problems, but I think you can probably understand how I explained it there and how you have to borrow sometimes from the tens column, borrow a $10 bill and give that to the ones column in order to do your subtraction. So let's just look at this problem, 33 minus 17. So what we would need to do here, we can't subtract 7 from 3 in the ones column, so we need to borrow a $10 bill from the tens column. And so we'd take that 3 and change that to a 2. And we'd take the $10 that we borrowed, the one $10 bill, and we'll put it over here in the ones column. And we just think of that 1, 3 there as a 13. And so now we do 13 minus 7, which is 6. And then we do 2 minus 1, which is 1. And remember, any subtraction problem, in order to check your work, you can add up. So we could do 17 plus 16, and that should get us back to 33. Let's just make sure. 7 plus 6 is 13, so we bring a 1 down here and put a 1 up there. 1, 2, 3, 33. So that did work. We did that problem correctly. 33 minus 17 is 16. Always, on any subtraction problem, you can always add up to get back and see if you did that problem correctly and check your work. Okay, look at practice problem B, 49 minus 27. This one's written out horizontally. It's always easier to do these vertically so we can think about our columns and our place value. Just makes it a little more organized. Now, that problem was actually supposed to be 47 minus 29 instead of 49 minus 27. So go ahead and rewrite that real quick. Look at your ones column. You can't subtract 9 from 7. And so we need to borrow $10 or 10 from the tens column. And so we have the 4 or 40. Let's borrow 1 from that. So that'll make that 4 a 3. and then we put a 1 over here to represent 17, and so now we can do 17 minus 9, which is equal to 8, and then do 3 minus 2 is 1, 18. Let's check our work. Add up, so we'll do 18 plus 29. 8 plus 9 is 17. Bring that 1 over to the tens column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 47. So that did work. We did our subtraction correctly. Let's do one more. 30 minus 17. Let's go ahead and rewrite that vertically. Okay, we can't subtract 7 from 0, so we need to borrow 10 from the tens column. And so we change this 3 to a 2, and that 10 that we borrowed, we put it over here. And so now we have 10 minus 7, which is equal to 3, and then 2 minus 1 is 1, 13. And then let's check our work. 17 plus 13. We add up. 7 plus 3 is 10, so we put 0 here, 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 30. And so we did do that problem correctly. Answer's 13. Okay, well that's all for lesson 15.